We're always glad to hear from our representative in Washington, speaking about riding the storm out. He's riding the storm out at his home base. But let's talk about the storm in Washington. I don't mean snow and ice. I'm talking about Congress. Hello there, Michael Guest.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for having me on today.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking time to give us a report. What's been the latest hot and heavy exchange there in the state capitol? I mean, the nation's capital.
The nation's capital. That's right. Look, I think you have those same battles going on in the state capitol as well. And so, what we've been focused on since the first of the year, since January, we've been focused on passing appropriations bills to fund the government. I think all your listeners remember late last fall, early winter, we saw the longest shutdown in our nation's history, where the Democrats in the United States Senate shut down the government over a health care provision that ultimately they were not successful in getting into legislation. It caused a great deal of chaos internally within the federal government for that shutdown. And so since that time, we've been working hard to get appropriations bills out of the House to the Senate, because by the Constitution, appropriations bills originate in the House. They're sent to the Senate. The Senate would then pass those pieces of legislation, send that to the president for his signature. And we've done that. We completed our work in the House last week, where we passed the final 4 appropriations bills. Those were combined with 2 we passed the week before. They were sent to the Senate, and the Senate is scheduled to vote on those bills this week. But what we are hearing and reading and what we're seeing in light of the recent event in Minnesota is that many Democrats in the Senate are now saying that they will not support the package that we have negotiated with them, that they have agreed to, and that they intend to once again shut the government back down because they want additional language in one of the appropriations bills. Not all of them. There's 6 total. They're looking at shutting down over half of the government because they want language in a single appropriations bill dealing with the way ICE conducts their enforcement oversight. And so we are potentially headed toward another government shutdown beginning this weekend if the Senate is unable to get these bills across the finish line and pass. So that's what we've been working on. And the other thing that we've been doing is, last week.
But before you talk about what's the vote that's needed in the Senate for your work to pass the Senate?
So because of the filibuster rule, there is 60 votes to begin the debate on the legislation. And so that would require 7 senators from the Democrat side joining all the Republicans, assuming that we get all 53 for that legislation to begin the debate process and then ultimately go to the floor for final passage.
Okay. All right. And then you were talking about some other things you were working on there.
And the other thing is, last week was the 1-year anniversary of President Trump being sworn into office. And so what we also were doing as a conference is we were reminding people of all the great things that President Trump has been able to accomplish during his first year in office. I mean, things now that we tend to take for granted. For 4 years, we talked about the border crisis and that the number of illegals flowing across the border. I'll tell you, the last numbers we have from the Department of Homeland Security say that in December of last year, there were 10,000 individuals that were apprehended coming across the border. You compare that to the number from 2 years prior under the Biden-Harris administration in December of 2023, there were over 300,000. So a decrease of 290,000 border crossings in a single month that this president has been able to put in place. So the president has secured the border. The president accomplished what he said he was going to do as far as tax relief, and the fact that we have extended the Trump tax cuts from his first administration, preventing rates from rising from all individuals making $12,000 or more. We have expanded that with additional deduction for seniors, individuals who work overtime and are paid hourly, and individuals who receive their compensation by way of tips. And so we are putting more money in the people and in the pockets of the people, and the federal government is taking less of their money. And so that is something that we're proud of. And look, I think if we look at where the economy is, I think we can all say, look, costs are still too high, that we need to do what we can to lower costs, to make the cost of living more affordable. But I remind people, look, under President Trump, the inflationary cost is below 3%. Under Biden-Harris, we saw that number at 9%. We're also seeing interest rates come down. We're seeing the 30-year mortgage rate is now dropped below 6%. We're seeing an all-time high in the stock market. We're seeing GDP, the gross national product of the United States, increase 4.5% in the third quarter. We see that the uninflation numbers remain flat. The trade deficit is down. And so there are a lot of positive things on the economic front that we need to remind people, look, the president inherited a very difficult situation. He and the Republican Congress have worked very hard to turn the economy around, and we're slowly moving in that direction. Are we moving as quick as we would like? No. But we are moving in that direction, and I think hopefully sometime later this spring or early this summer, people will begin to really see that, because we know how important that is and how important of an issue that becomes in election year. People vote based on their pocketbooks. And so if people think the economy is good, if they think that they have more money to spend, then they're more likely to support the Republicans in the November election. So a lot of things we're packaging together, a lot of things we're putting out there, also trying to get some wins on the board for East Mississippi. So it's been a busy couple weeks in our nation's capital. So I know I've thrown a lot at you, and I'm happy to unpack that and answer questions on whatever I can individually, on whatever issue you want to dive into in more detail.
Yeah, we of course, you talk about the economy. I'm old enough to remember we always remember the great economic times of Ronald Reagan's era, and I just want to remind people that it took a couple of years of him being in office for there was some real traction in the supply side economics that he put forth then. So I think if we just give ourselves a little bit of patience to see what's going to happen with the economy here, I think you're right. I think we're going to be pleased in the end.
Yeah, and look, we didn't even touch on gas prices. Gas prices are at a 5-year low. And look, I'm like you. I'm old enough to remember, though not well, but remember the bad economy coming out of Jimmy Carter, and the fact that President Reagan was able, over a period of time, to have one of the greatest economic turnarounds in American history. And I think we're on track for that. But again, it's not going to happen overnight. President Biden and Kamala Harris didn't get us in this mess overnight, and so it's going to take a little time for these changes really to sink in and impact all Americans. But I think we are putting positive economic policies in place that are going to impact all Americans.
Now, you said you're trying to put together some wins for Mississippi. What's on your radar for what can come to your home district and to the state of Mississippi?
Yeah, a couple things that are really just specific, I guess, for East Mississippi is one, we've been working with the Pat Harrison Waterway District for the dam repair, the Artesia Dam. Then that was something that's been an ongoing project, ongoing concern for East Mississippi. We had money in the appropriations bill last cycle because we ended up funding the government by way of CR. All those projects were removed, but so there's $4 million for that project. That's something that we've heard a great deal about repeatedly. For the city of Meridian, there's $1.5 million for a medical center wastewater storage project. What they're looking at doing there is down in the medical district. We see that at times that there is loss of water pressure. And so they're looking at building a new water tank there in that downtown Meridian area and with some additional water lines so that they can make sure that they have the proper water pressure they need to service the medical district. And then for the town of Meridian, we're doing a project there, some infrastructure work where they're getting $2 million federal dollars to go along with state and local dollars to fund those projects. And so those were three projects specifically in Clark County and Lauderdale County that we've worked very hard with local officials to try to get across the finish line. And so, we understand that infrastructure probably is the biggest need that most communities have. And so we're trying to, again, leverage those federal dollars with existing dollars to push some of these projects across the finish line. And those were three that we were able to get in the appropriations bills. Now, again, those bills still have to pass the Senate and be signed by the president. But we're one step closer to getting those funds allocated for those specific projects.
Very good.
Well, that's good to hear that at least some of our local projects are in your view, and we appreciate that. We appreciate all you can do. Go back and get more. Now,
well, look, our goal is to try to keep federal spending in check, but once we set those spending levels, I think it's then important to advocate on behalf of Mississippi projects to make sure that those projects are being funded. And look, we always are looking for ways in which we have projects which are there ready to start construction, but they just need an infusion of some additional dollars to get those projects started and across the finish line. And we're going to continue to try to help there. I tell you something else that our office has been in contact with a pretty good bit lately, is trying to expand passenger rail through Meridian to Texas. And so there is a group that is looking at trying to revitalize passenger rail across central Mississippi, just like they've done in South Mississippi. The train that now runs from New Orleans to Mobile has really exceeded rider expectation.
Good.
And they've been incredibly pleased with the success of that. There is now a move to bring passenger rail, which would start in Atlanta, come through Meridian, go across central Mississippi, across Louisiana into Texas. There has been a big buy-in from the Meridian community. They believe that this will promote tourism and will bring in additional revenue dollars to the city of Meridian. And so we are working to try to see how we can be a part of that project. And it is a project that is advancing. It is advancing slowly, but there is a group working on that. And so that's just a kind of another avenue of potential economic activity in Meridian that we're able to be a part of. And so we're excited about that. If this is something that has buy-in from the community, this is something that we want to try and support.
Well, tell us a little bit about our international situation. I know that we've got naval buildup over near Iran, and some other issues regarding our international affairs. From the House perspective, what can you tell us about what we could expect maybe out of in the days ahead? Speaking of Iran, for example.
Yeah, the president will ultimately be the individual who makes the decision of is there military action in Iran or not. We saw that last summer that the president chose to use military action to strike several Iranian nuclear facilities where they were in the process of trying to develop nuclear materials to weapon grade. So that they could then weaponize that. The president, along with Israel, took decisive action after for years trying through sanctions and negotiations to get them to stop. And from all reports, that military strike was extremely successful. What we've seen going on in Iran for now, I guess this is starting week 3, is we have seen unrest in Iran. The people of Iran are rising up and seeking to overthrow the very oppressive government of the Ayatollah. There have been internet blackouts across Iran now for weeks. Much of the information we're getting is video that's been put up through the Starlink system. The president is reallocating military assets to the Middle East, including the movement of one of our carrier battle groups, so that we will be positioned if the president feels that it is necessary for us to take military action. That military action, I'm told, will be by the way of airstrikes. It will not be American soldiers on the ground in Iran. I don't think that decision has been made. I don't think the president has yet made a decision, but I think the president wants to make sure that he has assets in the region if he chooses to greenlight some sort of military operation, just as he did earlier this month in Venezuela. We pre-positioned assets there in the Caribbean. The president then later gave the okay to go in and capture Maduro. I'll tell you, that was an extremely successful operation. We were able to capture someone who was under indictment in the United States, who was a dictator and a criminal, and we were able to do so without the loss of a single American life. So an extremely successful operation, and would be hopeful that any military operation in Iran would have those same parameters. Loss of no U.S. lives, but also making sure that we carry out the mission that we've targeted.
We haven't heard from, we kind of took Venezuela off the news front here with the ICE stories and all the things like that. But are you happy with the way things are going in Venezuela right now? Are things coming along as well as expected?
Look, I think at this point, we had nowhere to go but up. That started, roughly 25 years ago with Hugo Chavez, who kind of took a country which was one of the most prosperous countries in Central and South America and turned that country into from capitalism to socialism. We saw those government officials over time then get in bed with drug dealers. They became the hub of drug trafficking across that part of the world. Yeah. They were very the people of Venezuela suffered greatly under Maduro, as they did with Chavez before that. And so, look, it's going to take some time for us to see the long-term benefit of us being able to take him out of power. But I do believe that for those who follow the Monroe Doctrine and believe that America should have a say in what's going on in our hemisphere, this was an incredible success. Again, he was in bed with drug cartels, closely aligned with China, Russia, Iran, three countries who are American adversaries. And so by them not having the ability to have a leader in our hemisphere that they can engage with, I think that it makes America stronger, and I think we will see a better relationship with Venezuela in the days ahead.
Well, if you would, I know you have your legislative crystal ball in front of you, so kind of take a look and let us know how these midterms are going to shake out.
I think it's still too early to tell right now.
Okay.
I think the major issue of the day is going to be the economy. And so just as we talked about earlier, some of the economic successes, that is great, but that has to be felt by the voters. The voters have to see or feel like that they have more money in their pocket and that things are trending in the right direction. The other thing that we're still unsure of is, we're still not exactly sure what these congressional maps are going to look like. We've got the state of Florida, who is talking about further redistricting, the state of Virginia, the state of Maryland, and California, where the Democrats redistrict to draw 5 new Democrat seats. That is still being challenged in the court system. And so we're not exactly sure what these congressional maps are going to look like. And so until we get a final map in place for each and every state, and then as we get into late spring, early summer, as we see what is happening in the economy, I think I can maybe provide you a better picture then. But I think right now It's too early to say. My crystal ball is still a little murky. We're continuing to try to decipher what's in there.
There you go.
And happy to talk about it in a little more detail as we get closer to the November elections.
Well, we always enjoy your updates. I know we're reaching the top of the hour. Anything that you want to share with our listeners that we haven't talked about yet?
We'll be in Meridian on Thursday, so we've got a day in Meridian. Charlie Blue, my field rep there in Meridian, I will be spending the day with him. We're going to be.
Is he still working for you? I don't see him around. I don't know. Is he still working?
I know he may not work much. He's still on the payroll.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding. He's doing a fine job.
Charlie's great.
Yeah, but Charlie's got a lot of things set up, so excited to be in Meridian, visiting with some of our elected leaders, community leaders, some folks on our county advisory groups. And so looking forward to a great day in East Mississippi. And we're going to continue to try to put wins on the board for Lauderdale County, Meridian, Clark County, and everyone over in East Mississippi. We're going to continue to work extremely hard.
All right. So you're over here Thursday. Where are all the places you'll be?
So we're going to start off at our office there in downtown Meridian. We're going to be having coffee with our county advisory board, some of our business leaders. We're going to be meeting with the mayor of both Meridian and Meridian. We've got meetings with both of them set up. We've got some media that we're going to do with Scotty Ray. He's going to come by and visit with us while we're over there. We're going to go by Southern Pipe, tour their facility there. We've got a lunch plan with some other people while we're going to be in town. So we're going to make Charlie's got a full day set up. It's going to start roughly 8 a.m. He probably won't let me leave until sometime well after 5. So looking forward to a great day in East Mississippi on Thursday. You guys are welcome to join us. If you got some free time Thursday, come on. We'd love to have you. Join us.
Thank you so much, Congressman Michael Guest, joining us here. And
by the way, tell AOC we said hello again.
Yes. I almost forgot.
Send your love.
Send your love.
And give her our number. There you go.
There you go.
All right. Michael Guest, thank you for joining us. Thanks for the update. And go up there and get them.
Thanks, gentlemen. Have a great day.
Thanks, sir.
Alrighty.